Okay, welcome everybody to another event at Conscious Commerce. We do these every single month. It's Brandon Clayman. Just really quick sound check. I've got my colleague Alex Jackma here as well. I just want to make sure that you can see my screen. Raise your hand. We're using Zoom webinar, so hopefully you guys are familiar with that platform. Alex, how's the sound quality and how is the video and the screen sharing?
You sound good. The quality's good and smooth. Hey, everyone. Alex.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you for raising your hand and letting us know we're here. Awesome. Okay, let's just dive into this. So we're going to be focusing on email marketing today. We've delivered over 350 events over the last 17 years, 18 years in business, established in 2004 as emerging as one of Constant Contact's. We are the top rated partner in the world with Constant Contact. I'm just curious here. Who is an actual client of Constant Contact? Just raise your hand, or if you are, and if you're not, that's good too. So just want to do a quick intro. I'm Brandon Clayman, founder and president of Conscious Commerce. Lots of experience in marketing and consulting, business ownership, entrepreneurship, speaking, all that good stuff. And we just love sharing our knowledge. You know, we really want to inspire you to do better in email marketing and other marketing channels. We do events on search engine optimization and paid ads and social media. So, you know, we're really an open and transparent organization. You can see behind me, there's some like our company values and stuff like that. That's just kind of, you know, there for you to see subconsciously. And then we have Alex Jackma, who's a newer part of the team. He's been with us for a couple months. And Alex, if you want to say a few words and maybe share a little bit of your background, that'd be great.
Sure. So, yeah, my name's Alex. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm a young marketing specialist, consultant, solution provider, strategist, and overall, specialist in helping you achieve your marketing goals. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, guys, let's just get into some content. Real quick, though, we do offer these services. You can definitely check out our website. Alex, you can drop a link in the messaging box.
Sure.
This event will be recorded. You will be able to access that afterwards if you'd like. As well, we totally encourage everybody who does participate with these webinars to join us for free consulting. You know, if you want us to look at your current digital reality, we're happy to do that. We can look at any and all different channels. All we ask is that you give us access to a couple of your products so that we can actually log in and do the work with you. That's it. It's a very simple process, and it's just part of our managed account program that we do. And we always unlock some great insights for you. Okay, let's just get into it. So subject lines, one of the more challenging areas in email marketing. So basically, we're going to talk about this all day today. And if you have any questions, please use the questions and answer function inside of the Zoom feature there. And you can ask at any time. I'm not going to open things up at a certain time. It's just, we'll just go throughout the whole process. So we're going to talk about every aspect of subject line today. But right now I want to focus on email marketing as a channel. When people get on your list, they give you permission and consent. So they're already expecting to hear from you, which is great. And it's really important that, you know, we recognize the trends that are happening in email. You'll learn a few of those today, and best practices around subject line optimization and how does that help to translate to improve open rates and clicks. Obviously, you're a part of that as well. Just curious though, how many of you do email marketing regularly? Just raise your hand. Regularly would be at least once a month you're sending out a communication. So it'd be good to know about that. Okay, good, thank you. So 42% of people look at the from or the sender name before they decide to open that email. And we all can relate to that. And it's a critical first starting point in your email communications is who is this email from? And that's important to start there because again, if you don't recognize the company name, then you're just simply either just going to delete this or not open it at all. It's like kind of like when you get a cell phone call, it's from an unknown caller, you typically aren't going to be answering that. So you can see on the right hand side here, you've got a few of the from names, pretty clear and simple and easy to identify. Really, really important. So we're going to dive into the basics of subject lines. We're going to get into, I'm going to talk about some trends and you know, how to write good subject lines, as well as using some marketing strategy as like beyond just some of the tips. So some of the basics of subject lines, and we'll talk about like right now the technical stuff. So you have the subject line itself, and then you have what's called a pre-header text. And on mobile devices, which are responsible for more than 50% of global devices today in terms of people's interaction engagement on these, the pre-header text is actually a lot more relevant today than it ever has been before. And on the right hand side, you can see over here you've got company name, subject line, and then right below that is that pre-header text. And that is where we also need to be incredibly creative for optimizing our ability to improve deliverability, improve open rates, and really just get the best possible email marketing performance that we can get. That's really a big part of it. So here's some examples of some subject lines. So you can see this one here, my preschool this week. Your 2-year-old normal or gifted, and then pre-header is down here. Your child is 2 years old, wrong age, normal. So you can already kind of see here that the pre-header was cut off. And we're going to learn today how to sort of shorten subject lines, but still keep them effective. That's part of the whole challenge is we're now being given less time to market to our audience, and so you got to be as direct as you possibly can. And in most cases, you'll see that for good subject lines, they're 4 to 7 words, and then pre-header is 5 to 8 words. So that's part of what we're going to learn today. You probably want to write that down. Is just making sure that your subject line fits into these standards, and because if you break them, then you do need to have a legit reason for that. So you might already have huge open rates and can get away with doing a 9-word subject line, because you already know your audience is really interested in your content and your offers and stuff. So these are some good best practices here, and you'll notice like this should be shortened on both of them. They both need to be shortened in order for the most effective delivery. So that's something that we find common in when we're looking at email campaigns. And we do a lot of email marketing here at Conscious Commerce, thousands of campaigns a year, and really just it's an optimization. So some of the most obvious things that our clients typically would want to do is they would want to put the company name in the subject line. So if you already have the company name in the from section of the communication, then do not put that in the subject line. That's redundant and it's a waste of space, and it doesn't help your cause to increase open rates. They already know who it's from, so avoid doing that. Also, a lot of the time we see people or companies, sending communications out on the 1st of each month, and in the subject line, they put the word newsletter in there. And again, it's just a redundant, we know it's a newsletter. We're getting an email from you, so it's obvious. So do not waste that precious opportunity to utilize that space. You only have 4 to 7 words, so don't put the word newsletter in there. Again, it just creates redundancy, and it's boring, and it's not engaging, and it doesn't really help with your open rates. The other thing too is you don't need to include the date. the date's already something we know. So again, just stay away from that stuff, because you will find that it does reduce your performance when trying to get in the inbox. You're trying to win the priority in the inbox. And just so you know, subject lines and who it's from in an email campaign massively influence a person's interest in wanting to open this communication and read it. So identifying who it's from and having a really compelling subject line are the two largest contributing factors to a person's decision around whether or not they're going to continue to open this email. And then after they open it, it becomes another challenge in marketing around click-throughs and engagements. You'll
Yeah,
notice
so
this.
we got a question. We got a question from Amy. Do all email platforms, so Google, Hotmail, and Yahoo, deliver the same way with the headers and pre-headers on both desktop and mobile? So when your customer receives an email on the desktop website, there's still going to be the 5 to 8 text, 5 to 8 words.
Universally, yeah, you're going to need to stick to that standard. These are best practices that have been tested across every single email marketing tool that exists on the planet. So 4 to 7 words is the subject line, and then you're looking at 5 to 8 words for pre-header. So you have a little bit more wiggle room on the pre-header. Less is always more when it comes to email marketing. We're finding, because of the fact that there's so many mobile devices now. But great question. The best thing you'd want to do is utilize. There's other platforms and integrations. So like within Constant Contact, we have Litmus integration, which allows us to do testing on every single device. So if you really have a large list and you're really adamant about making sure the email's perfect, then don't take my word for it. Use these integrations, these tools that help you to see what your email. It renders a preview of your email before you send it, and it will show you what it looks like on Yahoo, on Hotmail, on Google, Gmail, Outlook. Outlook's a problematic email client as well. So then you can kind of get a gauge of what you're dealing with. And some clients that we work with have a lot of their people on their list that use Outlook or corporate emails, or they have a lot of Gmail accounts. So one of the tips you can do is you can search in your lists, and we can do this with you on an account review and show you how many of your contacts have Gmail. So you can better adapt the communication for those platforms if you see a large percentage of subscribers are using those tools. Cool. Thanks for the question. So here's some ideas around subject lines. You want to again have fun, be creative. This is your opportunity to test out the waters. And marketing is not a one and done thing. It's always trials and testing and split testing, and you can apply that methodology across every single marketing channel, from website personalizations to paid ad campaigns to email marketing. You can do all kinds of different ways to test your marketing, and specifically inside of subject lines, you can have a lot of fun doing that. So you're going to want to try and get people laughing, trigger an emotional response. Obviously sticking to your branding and your messaging, but ultimately you're trying to get a rise out of people. You're sending them a communication. You're looking to pull a response out of them. So you're pushing content to pull a response. How do we get there? So you can make them laugh. You can do like incorporate numbers. A lot of the time you'll see in email campaigns like top 10 tips on how you can win with digital marketing. There's a variety of different techniques that you can do, but you're really just trying to engage their emotions so that they don't look at this and see this as another boring email and then they just hit delete, right? You're trying to curate a response. One of the other thing is the fear of missing out piece. So if you're able to incorporate some form of urgency, and like, for example, I think I see an attendee here, Linda, you're in the travel industry. So there's, last opportunity, or last day to save on a flight or a package or a deal, or inventory is running out. Um, those kinds of things, and that would be part of like the urgency component inside of a communication. So these are just some of the ways you can see, on the right hand side, some examples here. 5 tips for perfectly grilled ribs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. So that still fits the standard there. They do need to shorten their pre-header because that doesn't fit the full. That doesn't fit the full like component there, like in terms of the pre-header piece. Um, let's look at a couple of others. ABC Financial. So you got the company name from. You've got, are your investments working for you? So again, could have easily just converted that to, are your investments working? Just to get it to fit in that standard. Then you have a much better opportunity for people to actually read the full subject line, make better judgments on whether or not they're going to continue to open this. Same thing goes for the pre-header text. You definitely want to make sure that that's optimized. Hearts and Tails Animal Rescue, that's a pretty long company name, but it still fits. And then take 5 minutes to help animals. And so this here, you could just, again, shorten that to be something like take 5 minutes to help. And then you've got the pre-header. So you got to always look at your emails, and you should be sending yourself a preview of these emails. One of the things we offer in our managed account program is what are called an EOR, an email optimization review. And if you ever want to have us look at that email and give you optimizations, and we'll review that for you. We'll look at what it renders on our mobile phones, on our desktops, and Gmail, and then send back a bunch of tips for you to implement in your own campaigns. That's all part of our managed account program. It's one of our free services we offer. So we've got another example here. French Consulting, last chance, register by Friday. So that's that fear of missing out piece. Reserve your spot today. So they're repeating themselves, which isn't the best practice here. They could say something like, 2 spots left. And then it helps reinforce that, fear of missing out piece, but it's not saying the same thing. So you want to, again, get creative. You don't have a lot of room in these places to do those kinds of things. Another way to, so we're going to talk now a little bit about just like different kinds of communications. Welcome emails are emails that you typically would trigger when somebody joins your newsletter for the first time. And, these are some of the most popular emails that you will ever receive, because when you sign up and you instantly get that welcome, you're excited. It took energy to subscribe to the newsletter in the first place. So typically a good opt-in like strategy is to offer some kind of promotion or content when somebody subscribes. And we see on the back end, we know that the open rates are 50% on welcome emails. It's because of that level of interest and that consent and that permission. So here you've got, a thank you for our subscribers. And then you see the pre-header, 25% off full price. So it's nice to have a coupon. There's a landscaping component. Again, keeping them short and focused and succinct. There's really good usage here for you to maximize engagement. So when you're doing these types of welcome emails, you also could incorporate some personalization. It could be like, Brandon, thank you for joining our list, for example. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we move along. You can see here on the right, the landscaping company also throws in a coupon. The thing is, they didn't really incorporate that in the subject line, so they could have reduced this if they wanted to, and it probably would increase that open rate even more. Date triggers are also something that we see happening in the platform. So you can utilize automation. You can do reminders and stuff, which is great. You have birthday reminders. Notice how they're using personalization. When using personalization, putting a person's name in the subject line, you could increase the open rate by 2.6%, which is huge. Um, if you're struggling to inch yourself higher up in that in your performance, and I think the pre-header is okay here. Happy birthday, Stephanie. This one's on us. This is a great subject line for an automation campaign. Then there's a reminder for the renewal also. So these are just giving you guys ideas of what other companies out there, or what are they doing and how are they using it. In this case, it's triggers, date triggers. Offers and promotions. So, we all get marketed to and promoted all the time. Um, some of the things that you might need to factor in, depending on, how frequent you're communicating, is, using like percentages inside of subject lines. So I don't want you to set and forget anything to do with email marketing or any marketing channel. You always have to be critical of what you're doing around just paying attention to the results. So if you recognize that your open rates are going on a downward trend, let's say after a few months, and you're continuing to use like save now, 10% off or 20% off store-wide event, then you know that people are just simply getting fatigued on your list, or they're just simply getting immune to those deals. So you have to keep maintaining a way to trigger a different response. And so that's what is important for you when you're looking at doing promotions and offers inside of your communication. This one's also a little, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It works. I like that they've incorporated the date, but they could have just used they didn't have to use like maybe the full, month. Could just be by the, Oyster Day beginning, AUG 4th, for example. All your favorite pairings, make a reservation. That's good. Good call to actions are in here. So yeah, there's some pros and cons of doing over promoting, but keep in mind that you can easily see in the results. So it's always looking back at the results of like what is really going on here. So let's have a couple of looks here. So we have other examples. So there's a summit, and then there's this one down here. This Connex is actually like a B2B piece, and it's you can see they're getting a little cheeky. They're choosing different words, and OMG, and it's basically, as long as it fits your personality and your branding, you can pull these things off. But you want to have fun. You want to try and again create an emotional response. Prices will be increasing July 31st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do you really need to put all that in there? Not necessary. They can shorten this if they wanted to. So that's important to look at as well. And you've got the name here. So again, there's a way you don't need to put the name inside of the subject line. You could just put last chance to save on tickets, and then prices will be increasing July 31st, and then just get rid of the time. Because again, those are extra characters that could also get triggered and flagged in spam. Yeah, so
it looks like we got another question here. Sorry, Brandon. But what is a healthy open rate for your emails?
a great question. So basically, you've got different channels, different industries, and different frequencies of people sending. So we have clients that have six-figure lists that have a 9 to 10% open rate, and it's very hard to get those increased based on the fact that they send 30 emails a month. There's other examples where we have, like, I have another client, Barking Good, and they have an open rate of 50%. So it varies across like your thresholds of how often you're communicating and what you're communicating. So if you're doing like a lot of content marketing, and you're basically sharing really good quality content that people are interested in reading, you're going to see higher open rates. And so typical averages for overall is, I would say at this point, about 18% is what you should expect. If you get anything higher than that, good for you. Speaking of helpful content and valuable emails, so here's another couple examples of some more subject lines. In this situation here, you can explore different possibilities around optimizing this first one. So instead of putting on like new white paper, you can just remove that altogether, or you can explore using the brackets as a strategy. So it depends on, again, where you're at with your open rates, your current performance. If you shorten it, you might end up getting better results. They may not know that it's a white paper, but that's okay, because this is already a pretty cool subject line to begin with. You could also use the pre-header text for this, so you can mix and match and kind of figure out what's going to work best. But exploring brackets is one option. There's again, just keeping the 4 to 7 words in check for the subject line. MyFitnessPal, 8 healthy whole foods that could slow weight loss. So that's 8 healthy foods that can prevent weight loss. You could reduce it to this could be reduced. So again, you're always looking to maximize as much as you can your ability to get increased deliverability. Like the goal here is open rate. So subject line and open rate. That's really what we're trying to focus on here. So if you implement some of these best practices, you probably will see an increase in your open rate for sure. Some nonprofit examples. You can see here, cat shelter subject, thank you for adopting Shay from Gifford. So notice there's some personalization going on in the subject line itself. And when you use personalization, it's like it increases engagement. It makes the email personal, and it creates a connection, a direct and more relevant connection with your audience. And you can capture that information on sign up. You can capture it inside of your CRM systems or your accounting software, and then you can import that as custom fields into Constant Contact and then repurpose it in communications. So that's really useful. Pre-header, though, I'm not seeing. This says adopting from Gifford. Hello, Ashley. Thank you. I don't know what like this doesn't sound right. Like this needs to be reworked to something maybe a little bit more relevant to what's in the email itself, because you've already spoken from the personal perspective here. So there are ways to make sure that that it's as relevant as possible. Relevancy in marketing is a huge component for consistent results, to acquiring consistent results. So yeah, the other one here, the food bank, a blessing of food and kindness. That seems to be enough and short and sweet. But then you have inside of the pre-header, the taste is coming. It's the foodie. I don't know. I probably would have used something more relevant. So I'm not sure like where they came off with this one, but to me, I just think that it needs to be tighter, a little bit more relevant of a communication. So you can incorporate again personalization in there as well. Like hey Alex, we have a foodie event coming up, for example. Get some personalization going. Things that you want to pay closer attention to around your communication. People today are getting even more critical of what's being said out there, and you got to be as upfront, transparent, and honest as you can. So you don't want to use in your subject line things like forward or re, because it might feel like you're implying a continuing conversation. That's sneaky and a bit of a trick. You'll see that in spam and phishing emails. or you don't want to imply too much urgency, because it becomes forceful and it's just unappealing. It's not how people want to be marketed to. Be deceptive about their actions. So don't do things like, your order confirmation is an example of that, or booking reservation or whatever that looks like, um, because those are transaction emails. Those are things that automatically happen after a transaction takes place. You definitely don't want that getting incorporated into your communications, because again, it's deceitful and it's not the way that we want to be marketing. Continuing on this same path, looking at words that trigger spam filters, and the spam filters today are continually evolving. Um, there's a lot of again, you can check, like within Constant Contact, there are spam checking tools. You should check preview these emails every single time. You want to move. You want to stay away from these words. These are words that have been kind of part of built-in spam for a long time, like spam checkers. So don't put free guarantee um, in there, and then upper caps, obviously not a good move. Too much use of punctuations and symbols. There are spam algorithms that just capture this stuff and just figure, you know what, I can't deliver it. So then you end up working so hard to get a newsletter out, and then it goes into the spam box. So you gotta test it before you send it. That's what I always say. Let's look at some trends. So, yeah, just as simple as using you or your and personalizing with their first name is a huge win. You can increase. Here's a stat here. It says here, one stat we found is that when you use the first word in your subject line as you or your, open rates increase significantly. For business to business, stats show an increase by 20%. And for business to consumer, it goes up by 22%. So that's, again, directing the communication at the person themselves. So whether you put their first name in or you put you, it really helps to create that connection. So that's important. You can see this is a good example right now. Are your Google ads not showing? 11 reasons your Google ads aren't. So that's really important. Another thing is, and I talked about this before, is that using a subscriber's name in the subject line can boost the open rate by 2.6%, which is a very big deal in the realm of open rate stats. You can also use their name in other parts of the communication. You'll see this example here. So how many of you have used personalization before? Just raise your hand. In a communication, whether it's in the body of it or in the subject line. Or if you haven't, but you received it, what's your propensity to open? Is it higher or lower?
I personally am more inclined to opening up emails that have my name in it. Even though I know what they're doing, it's still this little personal touch that makes the difference. So.
Yep. Exactly. It's just part of creative and effective marketing. Let's talk about emojis. They're built into Constant Contact. Because we have limited words now, and we know that everybody's on mobile and everybody's using emojis anyways, why not utilize them in your subject lines? So that way you can convey a little bit more visual element in the subject line with some kind of messaging to go with it, even symbolic insights. One study shows emojis increase the open rate 60% of the time versus the same subject line with no emoji. So you could do some testing here on your own, and you could actually split test. You can do a subject line with an emoji and one without, same subject line, and that could be something that you can see the results right away on, and from there, incorporate that moving forward. But keep in mind, emojis will look different on everybody's computers and devices. They're not like the same icons. These icons you can see here aren't even like the real emojis like on an iPhone and stuff. So you're going to have a little difference there. This is a preview of what it looks like. So, take advantage of them, but don't use them all the time, because again, it gets stale. You have to stay creative. You have to stay dynamic. But this is the split testing piece. So you can go and create two emails, and it would go to 20% of the list, and then the winning email would send to the balance. And so it would do this over 48 hours, which is cool. Emojis are definitely a more creative way to get some relevant, fun communication going on inside your subject line. Relatively newer feature in the last few years. So here you can see some examples of how it's being used. And pretty straightforward, very relevant to the subject line as well. And they're shorter than words. So, you can throw a few of them in there. All right. So remember, don't use them all the time. You want to support the message. You don't want to just throw an emoji out there that has no relevance. And they are going to look different. So if you decide that you want to try them, just see what it looks like on your phone versus your email client. And you can do the split testing piece as well. The bracket piece, again, it's another technique in subject line optimization. Here's a couple of examples on how you could utilize that. So in this situation, though, you can see like the Content Marketing Institute, new webinar, how to transform your webinar into content. So there's a bit of redundancy there, and you could probably optimize that subject line further.
Would you say that these brackets could be used by marketers to, get the attention of their consumer over, their competitors that are also in their inbox? Because, hey, new webinar, as they're scrolling down?
It's a great, yeah. It's basically a way of like reiterating something or emphasizing something. It's like a link in your.
It's like a sub header.
Something like that,
Something like that.
It's a nuanced emphasis, it kind of, when we see that, it might be like a trigger for, is that a task that I have to do? Or, it can create a question mark and create some curiosity around that.
So,
yeah, I mean, again, you can test that with or without, you can do A/B testing, and see what I've used those before. Is it a game changer? No, it's not a game changer. But again, lots of little things here that we're looking for in email marketing. It's never just one idea that changes everything. It's always a lot of little things that ultimately lead to increased performance, which is the main goal. You want your increased open rates. You want better quality content. You want more engaged content. You want more clicks. You want more website traffic, more engagements all around on your website when they get there. Sales, if you're doing e-commerce, there's all kinds of little wins that you can get inside of email marketing. So let's talk about alliteration. This is probably my favorite marketing tool or technique out there. And it's basically when you put, like, what you're doing here is you're focusing on a special promotion or featured content, but you don't want to look like you're trying too hard to do this. So you basically see some examples here. So financial consulting, 6 seasonal savings secrets. What it's doing is it's reusing, it's using the word, like the letter S, but inside of the subject line, you're seeing it 6 seasonal savings secrets. Tongue twister, but it's alliteration. It's really like compressing the use of just that sound, that the letter or the
sure.
So very, very relevant. It's like when I read that, like top trends to try today, it just flows better.
Well, if I can give an example, if the viewers look in the chat, I posted craving clever content. Here is our blog, and it actually aligns nicely with our brand too, CCC. So there's a little example.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So you've got um, alliteration is like a reinforcement strategy, but again, it doesn't feel as though you're reading, 6 or 7 words, and it's more subtle and subconscious. So it's a great way to incorporate into your sales copy or in a subject line. Chunking is another thing I've done where if you have a ton of things that are going on in your newsletter, and or in this case, this alloy apparel, um, you know, what essentially goes on here is you don't have the room to do 3 separate subject lines. So you're going to want to incorporate this chunking strategy that lets you kind of section out these different areas inside of your communication. And in this case, you got new tops, new jeans, and new outfits. So they're not full sentences. You're kind of breaking some rules here, but it does help with getting all the information you want shared across to into the inbox. You can see the French consulting you plus us equals more clients for you. Um, so those are the main. Like I'm talking just about the subject lines. The pre-header not so much. So chunking, like we sent a newsletter out yesterday, but we didn't use chunking. We just promoted the this event today, and but we had like a case study, we had an article on web trends, and then we had events. So I could have used chunking as well with brackets. You could incorporate brackets in there too. So there's,
New webinar.
yeah, you know. Um, Illusion is like using pop culture or famous lines out there. You can see this one, life is like a box of candy. We all know where that's from. And then there's like, we know what you did yesterday. So this is these are triggering already known, very popular words or sentences out there, or you know, um, heavily used pop culture from famous lines out there.
May the force be
Um,
with you. It was a good one for
yeah,
me.
and like we see a lot of that too on May 4th. May the 4th be with you, and
Mhm.
so again, it creates connection and it creates affinity, relevance, and gives a laugh. It helps with already like again with all that marketing already going on out there. Is you're just leveraging existing uh, success out there. So you can incorporate that into your subject lines, and again, it'll help improve the response. So that's illusion as a technique. Maybe Alex, if you want to chat, just write down those three for everybody. We have illusion, chunking, and alliteration. Those are the three uh, content strategies as well. Power words that trigger a response. Here's a few for you to look at. And also, I just want to share this with you 700 power words that will boost conversions. This is a resource as well that I'll just get that out there to everybody. So here we go. Just give me a sec. So you can see here for increasing trust, dependable, no risk, expert, encouragement, amazing, courage, happy, vanity, hero, conquer, remarkable, curiosity, convert, hidden, unlock. I've used unlock a lot for sure. I've used expert. I've used amazing and
One word
happy.
that I've used was enable. Enabling was a strong word.
Yeah, so there's lots of these action and power words, and there's an article that was just sent out there for what how can you utilize these across multiple marketing channels as well. So basically, to recap, you want to make sure that you are that your from name and your subject line and your pre-header text should be 4 to 7 words for the subject line. You want your from name and your company to be your company name in there as well. Pre-header text is 5 to 8 words, and then you want to be try your best to utilize some form of personalization. Introduce emojis. That would be great. And then also use alliteration, illusion, and chunking as additional strategies for your, when you're building out these subject lines. And again, if you're split testing, this is another kind of part of the recap. If you're split testing, then you're gonna want to try some of these strategies on one side of it, um, and then see how the results are, and just get an idea of your current open rates. And these are things that we can easily do with you guys. If you want to book us, we offer these free consults. We're not these sneaky, shady salespeople. I've been in business too long to play games. So it's important to establish and develop authentic relationships with each and every one of our clients. And so that's what we're here for. You guys can book us. There's links in the chat, and we'll go over this with you. If you have specific questions about your account, you want to talk about the product or other features that you may not have utilized, we'll share that with you. And even if you did decide to do a split test, or we can even help you configure that, then we can look at the response together and see how you improved moving forward. We have our own blog as well. There's lots of content there. We just got our newsletter out. We've got a case study, 7 web design trends that you might want to pay attention to. Also, we have another event coming up next week for our managed account presentation. And this is specifically for clients that have our products in our platform and are utilizing all of our platform. And we just go on there and show off all of the new features and basically inspire you to utilize those features across all the products that we have. Everything from Constant Contact to our map website builder, and other really cool products out there like live chat and stuff like that. If you're interested in trying Constant Contact today, you can do that. We'll get you a trial link. You can create a trial for yourself, and essentially just play around with the tool if you aren't a client. And if you are a client, we encourage you simply to reach out to us and give us an opportunity to give you some ideas and go from there. And that's basically it for today, guys. I don't have anything else to share. If there's any other questions out there, you can ask. If not, then we're gonna wrap this one up. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks,
Perfect,
Alex.
guys. No worries. Thank you, Brandon, and thank you for viewing, everyone. I'll see you at the next one.
Okay. Take care.
Okay,
Bye.